what you just explained and how you just explained it makes me think that it's worth $1 million a coin.
Oh my God, more,
way more.
But somebody has changed their mind. In my opinion, somebody, and whether that's nation states or whether that's other billionaires, somebody has changed their mind and they want to accumulate. And they don't want to accumulate at high prices, they want to accumulate at low prices. So what do? You unleash the bots on all the leveraged speculators. See, here's the problem. So here's my outlook for the year.
마크 유스코는 미국의 유명한 투자 전문가이자 오랜 시간 동안 전통 금융과 암호화폐 투자에 대한 깊은 통찰력을 바탕으로 비트코인의 장기적인 성장 가능성을 강력하게 지지하고 있는 인물 중 하나인데요. 오래전부터 코인에 대한 그의 예측은 높은 적중률을 보이고 있고, 이런 그가 2025년 비트코인 전망과 가치에 대해 얘기했습니다.
So here's my outlook for the year. So Bitcoin's fair value, as you said earlier, is around 95K, maybe 98, somewhere in the high 90s. What's that based on? That's based on Metcalfe's law, which is just a theoretical equation that takes all the inputs, the number of nodes, the number of transactions, etc., and comes up with a mathematical formula for the value of the network. And networks are valuable, right? 5 largest companies in the world aren't really companies, they're networks. Like, what is Amazon? They don't make stuff. They are just a network of buyers and sellers, and they take a cut. And their margins are really high. But the reality is that the Bitcoin network is very, very valuable. The Bitcoin network, the network itself, the secured network that's never had a fraudulent transaction. How many times you have to get a new Visa number because your number gets hacked? Often. Bitcoin's never been hacked, not once. Ethereum hacked, Bitcoin never been hacked. And it's had like 20 minutes of downtime in 16 years, so it's pretty reliable. Well, why? It's the most powerful computing network the world's ever seen. It's 1,500 times, not 1,500%, 1,500 times more powerful than CERN supercomputer. So this is a really valuable asset, just as a computing asset. Well, then the number of nodes keeps growing, the hash rate keeps growing, all the fundamentals keep growing. So we can calculate this fair value. When the price is below fair value, who buys it? People like you and me and all the other people we traffic with, investors. We like to buy stuff on sale. We like to buy things below their fair value. That's what we do, okay? And what does that do? That slowly pushes the price toward fair value. Now, as the price starts to move, who gets involved? Traders. Traders don't really care about fair value. They just want movement. They want to scalp a little here or there, up, down. They don't really care. They just want movement. Then who comes in? As we start to get towards fair value, and maybe we can get a little bit above fair value, well, then the speculators come in. Well, who's a speculator? Speculator is the opposite side of a hedger. So if the price is fair value, and I'm a miner, okay, and I can produce it below fair value, then I will sell my production and I'll sell it forward in the futures market, and the speculator will come in and take the other side. Okay? That's just a natural phenomenon. It's like an oil producer or a gold producer. You sell forward production to lock in your profits to pay your bills, and somebody speculates. But then the problem is, as the price starts to move, it starts to generate attention, and there's this self-fulfilling price. And then the gamblers come in. And the gamblers do a couple things. They don't give a shit. They don't care about value. They don't even know maybe what they're buying. They just see movement and they want in, and they use leverage. And so what happens, we have this 4-year cycle. So the halving always event happens when we're below fair value because of the 4th cycle. So that first part of the cycle is that recovery from winter, and it starts to move toward fair value. Then we get into what's called crypto summer, which we're starting to get close to fair value, and the halving event occurs. That was a year ago. Then we get crypto fall. Well, what's crypto fall? That's where the price starts to move above fair value, and the gamblers come in. And the further it gets is based on leverage. In the previous 3 cycles, we got to just about 2 to 2.1 times fair value. So the first one, fair value was 10. I'm sorry, the first one, fair value was about 3,000. We got to like 6. Second, it was fair value was 10. We got to 20. The third was 32. We got to 69. So we get to these levels of extremes. Well, then gravity works, and somebody comes in, squeezes the people who are over levered, and the price starts to correct. Now, there are those who would argue that that's happening right now. The cycle's over and we're headed down. No, because we're too close to fair value. My guess, and I said this back in January, was the 4-year cycle extends sometime into Q3. Is it October? Is it September? I don't really know exactly, but that's based on long-term history. So in theory, based on previous cycles, we should get somewhere between 1 to 2 times fair value. If fair value, we'll round it to 100. I think there's going to be less leverage. We don't have FTX anymore. We don't have Bitfinex. There's not as much leverage in the system. There's still leverage. Obviously, we've seen that in the last couple of days. But my estimate was we'd go to 150. If you just look at the pure cycles, it says 170. Some would say we're going to get to 200. I know Max is saying 220 and others. I'm taking 150, maybe it's 170, but somewhere between 150 and 170 to me is where we end up in Q3. And then we start crypto winter again. So that's the longest answer you've ever had to a simple question.
이전 1월 인터뷰에서 그가 예측한 비트코인이 10만 달러를 돌파할 것이라는 척중이 맞아 떨어졌고 올해 3분기, 즉 9월에서 10월 사이 이번 4년 주기의 사이클이 끝나기 전까지 적정 가치의 2배 수준인 15만 달러까지 간다고 예측했습니다. 여러분들은 어떻게 생각하시나요? 우리는 객관적인 시각으로 투자를 해야 하고 지금 당장만 보고 투자할 게 아니라 미래를 보고 투자를 해야겠죠. 010-2472-0429 전화번호로 탈개미 적어서 문자 보내주시면 2025년 비트코인과 코인 시장에 대한 분석, 정보들 공유해드리겠습니다. 현재 우리에게 중요한 것은 이러한 정보를 어떻게 활용할 것인가입니다. 지금까지 영상 시청해주셔서 감사하고요. 다음에 더 좋은 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 감사합니다.